Well, good afternoon. I debated on wearing a jacket today. I really didn't want to, but I knew I'd be following Director Loudmore. So I feel like I had to try and keep up with him. So here I am. But again, my name is DiLuzio. I have the honor and the privilege of leading the Georgia Forestry Foundation. I also have the honor of standing between you all and barbecue. So I will do my best to keep this brief. So when I was asked to talk about the importance of prescribed fire in Georgia to a room of practitioners, that was a pretty daunting request or ask. I'm a forester by training. I'm a former wildland firefighter. So I know fire, I love fire. I don't get to do it as much as y'all do in this room, but I'm a huge advocate for fire. And so is GFA and GFF, the association, the foundation. So what I want to do today is just briefly talk to you all, make sure everybody in the room knows about the Georgia Forestry Association and the foundation, and how we're linked and what we do, and use this as an opportunity, much like the last panel ended. We want to hear from you all. We're here, we are your association and your foundation. And so we exist to serve you, and we want to help. And so I'll get to that here in a minute. So hopefully everybody in this room has heard of the Georgia Forestry Association. Hopefully everybody are members. GFA and what we do is here on the slide. We are the voice and the representation for the entire forestry supply chain in the state. Landowners, loggers, consultants, mills, end users. We cover the entire supply chain, and we are your voice. GFA has 3 core principles that everything we do has to follow and adhere to: private property rights, sensible taxes and regulation, and healthy markets. There's a couple different entities under the GFA umbrella now. So the Georgia Forestry Foundation is one of them, and that I'll talk about here in a minute. We have a PAC. And so when my colleagues on the association side of the house are at the Capitol and working with our elected leadership, we can show your leaders, your elected leaders, how important forestry is to the state. And as Tim mentioned, we're fortunate that the leadership of the state, Governor Kemp is a member of ours. The Speaker of the House is a member of ours. So we have a lot of friends in forestry here in this state. Fort is our grassroots advocacy team. So I'm going to ask my colleague, Tim Miller. Nope, stand up. Stand up, Tim. There we go. So Tim is our membership director of GFA, and he also leads our grassroots advocacy and working to engage our member base across the state on the advocacy side. And then one of our new areas that we added last year is regional forestry groups. So we do this in partnership with the commission, the Warnell School at EGA, to host regional landowner meetings across the state. Those are led by a local leadership, and they set the topic, what they want to hear about. So just last week, we had a regional landowner meeting in Valdosta that was focused, had a panel discussion focused on fire and prescribed fire. I'm biased to the foundation. I lead the foundation. You can see the mission of the foundation here, and I'm really fortunate that today in the room we have Dr. Lindsay Boring, one of our esteemed trustees, who I have the privilege and the pleasure of working with at the foundation. But our mission statement is here. We work to ensure the long-term sustainability of forestry in Georgia by reconnecting youth and adults to the land and demonstrating the importance of working forest through environmental, educational, and economic programs. Ultimately, we want to keep forests as forests, and everybody in this room has a really important role in helping us achieve that mission. Now, I'm going to take a step back and talk, we got some stats from Tim this morning about the great numbers we had last year, 1.4 billion acres prescribed fire in the state. That's awesome. But just to make sure everybody knows in the room how important forestry is in the state, I hope everybody here knows that we are the #1 forestry state in the country, right? Everybody knows that? Awesome. Yeah, and that's something that every single one of you in this room play an important role of getting us to #1, keeping us #1. I don't know if there's anybody here from Alabama. Sorry, but you're #2. But we are #1, and I think that's something that I hope everybody here can be proud of. And we always get asked, well, what makes us #1? We've got some of these stats here. #1 in privately owned timberland. Brad mentioned we're 91% privately owned in the state, 22 million acres. We plant more trees in Georgia than most countries in the world every year. We harvest more, but again, what we harvest, we replant. #1 exporter, the #1 export out of the Port of Savannah is forest products. It's over a $41 billion economic impact to the state. And then the bottom two numbers in the right corner are also big ones that we think about a lot. So we grow 48% more than we harvest. You know, that's both kind of good and bad. There's some challenges there. But that number on the bottom right is one that keeps me up at night. We lose on average 118,000 acres of forest land to conversion every year. And so that's why at GFA and GFF, we work with a lot of partners in this room to get that 118,000 acre number down to 0. And unfortunately, a lot of those are lost to development. So we fight every day to help landowners keep their forests as forests. Now, in a lot of talks that I give, this slide says healthy markets equal healthy forests. So we believe the best tool to keep our forests as forests is healthy markets. For this group, I know my audience, prescribed fire equals healthy forests. Without forests, we don't have markets. Without fire, we don't have healthy forests. And again, I know I'm preaching to the choir here, but I want to emphasize how important it is, the work that you all do every day on the ground and getting fire on the ground in the state. You all help got us #1 and can keep us at the #1 forestry state going forward. So again, echoing what Tim said earlier, we at GFA and GFF really appreciate all the work that you do for the entire forestry industry in the state. But I know that fire isn't without its challenges. We've heard about some of that this morning. These are just a couple that I listed. I know it's not a complete list. We hear a lot about challenges with getting a permit and with smoke. Some challenges around insurance and liability. Public awareness and perception is a big one. Despite the many benefits of prescribed fire, people still are scared of fire. So we at GFF, partners and friends at Longleaf Alliance, and really everybody in this room, we're trying to fix that public perception. I'm based in the Atlanta area, which for a lot of our members, Atlanta is a 4-letter word. But there's a reason that I am in Atlanta. Yeah, keep counting, Tim. It's when we think about our mission of reconnecting youth and adults to the land, the people, the power, the influence is in Atlanta. But that biggest disconnect between people and the land is also in Atlanta. So at the foundation, we focus a lot of our efforts and outreach on the metro Atlanta area to make them understand the importance of forestry in the state, the important work that you all do, and that it's okay to cut a tree down because they're going to go back and plant 3 or 4 more in its place. And by doing these prescribed fires, we're helping our forests, we're helping wildlife, and we're minimizing and avoiding all these massive fires that we keep hearing about in Canada out west. So I have a canned presentation I do a lot about the importance of prescribed fire, and I know others in this room are doing that. So one of my first requests to you all in this room is that we want to hear what challenges that you all are facing in the field. We know permitting is a challenge. What else? So I'm going to put my emails up at the end of this, but find me, find Tim, my colleague here. Let us know what challenges you're facing because we're here to help. my role in the foundation, I focus on education and outreach. I want everybody to understand prescribed fire is a good thing. It's a necessary thing in the Southeast. Tim and my colleagues at the association, they're on the policy side. So they're at the Capitol every spring, working to enact legislation at the state level that's going to benefit our forest community here in the state. So not promising that we can tackle or find a solution to permitting, because there's a lot of federal aspects to that, but we're going to try. And so whatever other issues or challenges you're facing, please let us know, and let us know how we can help and how we can go to work for you. My last 2 slides here, I'm wrapping up. So again, I put down just some quick thoughts on how you all in the room can help and help us. So again, I think everybody in this room knows prescribed fire is the best tool that we have to educate the public about forestry and forestry management. So the learn and burns, we talked about all the work that Susan and Longleaf, I saw Susan earlier, do. That stuff is incredibly important. So keep doing it. Keep doing what you're doing, if not doing more. Talk to people. A lot of people become foresters because they want to go out in the woods and they don't want to talk to people. Forestry is a people business. So talk to people about what you do. If you're doing a burn, just like we heard earlier, invite people out. Let them come see it. See that, it's not as scary. Maybe it's still scary for them. I don't know. But it's not as scary as a lot of people think it is. Work with your local schools. We at the foundation, we do a ton of work. FFA across the state is one of our big partners. They have annual conference in Macon. They have 8,000 students all across the state in one place for 3 days. And students and teachers, they want to hear from you. So if you already have those relationships, great. Keep going, keep expanding those. If you don't, reach out to your local schools, your local FFA chapters, and help get them involved. And again, another plea to let us know what challenges that you all are facing in your daily work. And again, and how we can help. So again, this is not a complete list. Tim's probably thinking of things that I left out now. But we have kind of 2 sides of the house, the association and the foundation. The easiest way to describe it, if you want to talk politics, you go to the association. If you want to talk about the fun stuff, come to me at the foundation. So the association, they can help through policy, advocacy, and networking and continuing ed opportunities. So I mentioned the regional landowner groups that we started last year that Tim heads up. We have our annual conference in Jekyll Island next month with over 600 people from across the region coming together. So we are a place for you all to connect. The last session from the 2 private burn contractors, we have a find a forest expert tool. So Tim and I were just talking about expanding that to find a burner. And so we have resources for our landowner members, and we're happy to help support you all however we can. On the foundation, again, our role, our mission is education and outreach. We also fund research. So we worked with UGA and other partners to fund research that will go and later inform future policy down the road. So we've got some ideas around research. If there's things that we can do to help you all, please let us know. And more importantly, I think ultimately our role at both GFA and GFF is to tell your story, to tell the story of forestry in Georgia. Because it's a good story. It's a great story. And so that's our job. And we want to be able to tell the story of the great work that you all are doing every day. So I'm going to leave this up here. My contact information, Tim's contact information is on there. Probably not going to take questions because barbecue is out there. But again, Tim and I are here. Please come up, find me. Let us know how we can help, how we can serve you. We are your association and your foundation. And I hope to hear from you all soon. And thank you for all that you all do for forestry in Georgia.